Hello, welcome to this game review. We'll have a look at a pretty short game where Black checkmated his opponent, though, as it usually happens with quick checkmates, it's usually the fault of the opponent and not our own. And of course, even in such short games, there is something to be learned. So here, the Scandinavian was played this knight f6 variation, and white plays knight c3, which isn't very accurate. He should just take the center, and after black recaptures, he can play knight c4, using the fact that the knight is here and it cannot take on c3. And the white usually has a stable advantage here because of the better space. Of course, there is this move bishop g4, but this doesn't really make much sense either. White can just play knight f3 or any other move, and as usual in the Scandinavian, white has a stable advantage after playing, for example, c4 and developing with the center. So in general, such openings where we give up the center so easily are not very good. But okay, after knight c3, black didn't take, and now he can almost equalize at least. Bishop c4, which is fine, knight c3. And here the main move is queen f3, which threatens checkmate. Black has to play e6 basically, and then white is able to take back with the d pawn, not exchanging queens, and he can hope to play bishop d2 and castle queenside, and maybe attack on the king side, which is quite logical as white has a lead in development. After bc, there's nothing special, though here black is kind of just blundering this fork on f5 and b7, and this is kind of the start of the position. Unless black knows his theory by heart, he has no right to play so quickly. He made this move in 5 seconds, though here probably before playing such a move we have to check the forcing moves, and queen f3 is a very forcing move. It attacks several things, and if there's no answer against queen f3, then we shouldn't play bishop f5. But knight f3 is played, which is simple, e6. Now black gets to develop naturally, and white doesn't really claim the center. He doesn't use the b file, and this makes his decision to get this structure kind of weird, because now he just has a bad structure and there's no compensation. Bishop e3, not a very active square. White can more actively continue. Okay, bishop e3, knight d7, h3, again kind of a useless move. White should kind of develop pieces maybe. Rook b1, a4 maybe, try to get rid of his bad pawn. At h3, queen f3, and white plays queen d2, which blunders a pawn to a simple tactic, which I'm sure most of you can find. But here black didn't really look for tactics, and that's the first issue. If we're not looking for tactics, we will never find them, unless we find only the ones that our intuition can catch upon. But as usual, the reason we are playing longer time controls is so that we can look for things manually. And here, if we look for checks, captures, and attacks, of course, this is a bad check, this is a capture, this is also a capture, this is also a capture, but the most logical one is here, because if he takes back, we can take his knight. So black is just winning a pawn here. It's important that after this we can go queen f5, continuing to harass this knight, and after knight h4, queen g4, we're still doing fine due to this spin, and after this queen g3, white is forced to play f4, after which you can move back the bishop, and we have won a pawn. So the only way not to find queen h3 is to not look for it. We have to always look for forcing moves, but that's not what black did here. He played queen g6, which is a mistake. It now also threatens bishop h3 due to the pin, but there's no point in threatening something we can already do. And here I assume knight h4 was not looked at by both opponents, because now white will get the bishop pair, and this whole threat became useless. But king h1 was played, knight f6. White is... it's not clear what white is actually doing. I guess he's looking for g4. Queen h5 is a nice move. Now the threat is to take here with checkmate. And here white has only one decent defense, which is queen h2. After which black can take, which is of course not very natural. But continuing with this, after king h1, knight e5. There are two big threats, one of which is to make the structure very bad, with three pawns stacked on top of each other. The other one, the more simple threat, is to take here with checkmate. So this is a variation that black would have to find to refute knight h2. But instead h4 happened, which kind of tries to defend, but it just creates more weaknesses. After bishop g4, there is no defense. Bishop g5 was played h6. Now the g file is opened, which will help black. Black here tries to take a pawn. White misses his chance to at least exchange queens like this. And in general, when we're getting attacked, we should try to exchange attacking pieces, especially the queens. So white misses it. Of course, the check is very enticing, but after king h8, there's no way to defend from this attack. And there's also an opposite colored bishop situation, which usually means that the attacker will win. And here, the attacker is black. After queen d4, a very simple miss again. Queen takes f3, and white didn't blunder check before making this move. He should have checked for the opponent's forcing moves. And here, queen f3 ends the game. Rook g8, and queen h3 is checkmate. So of course it seems that black easily won, but as we can see, both sides made their fair share of mistakes, and there's a lot of things to learn about the thought process of our moves in the opening, and also how to attack and how to defend from threats.